push into the hands to come up to tabletop. Walk the hands in until they're underneath the shoulders, and shift the weight from hand to hand, giving your hands, wrists, elbows, and shoulders the opportunity to soften and find the most comfortable place to be. Bring some awareness to the spine and take a moment to find neutral. Sometimes it's fun to do like a tiny cat and cow, and then let the movement get smaller and smaller until it feels like you're at a center point. And start to sway the hips from side to side. So you're wagging your tail. Just like our tug of war, notice how as the hips sway to one side, the connections you feel into the opposite arm. And then let the hips come to center. Push into the hands and the knees so that you can evenly round your spine into cat. We're going to hula hoop the spine laterally, so shift the weight to the left, slowly start to drop through cow, and then shift the weight to the right in cow, and then round back into that right weighted cat. Shift to the left, staying in cat, and then we repeat. So it's like a big barrel roll with the spine. Try moving extra slow, and be really curious to find the place here that's the hardest to explore, and move even slower through that, seeing if you can unstick some of your vertebra, get a little more evenness through the spine. Start to notice how the movement of the spine relates to the sensation in the hips, even the outer hip. And play with doing the same action without shifting so much weight in the hands and knees. And the movement's going to get a little smaller, but you might feel stronger and more integrated. You might feel a little more waking up. And come back to center, press into the hands to send the hips to the heels, turn the palms face up. Relax for one moment. Connect with the breath. Let the belly press into the thighs. Feel the back body expand. And then float back up. We'll do the same thing, circling in the opposite direction. So if you did follow with me, we'll round into cat, and then we'll shift to the right, drop into cow, and then shift back to the left and start to explore at your own pace and your own size. And whenever it feels right for you, you have that option to not shift quite so much weight in the knees and hands, and let more of the work come from the core and the movement of the spine. And this actually builds a lot of stability in the shoulder girdle and in the pelvis, and it builds strength in the core. Take a couple more breaths to explore. And then come to center. And this time, instead of pushing back into Bhaktasana, press the hips back but push down into the knees and shins so you can roll up to a high kneel and take your time. And then turn 3/4 just so it's a little bit easier to observe me. We'll keep our knees, hips, and shoulders in a straight line, hands to the front of the pelvis, and ever so gently let the knees bend so you can lean back just a little bit. And notice what happens underneath the fingertips. The hands can angle in so they're coming into the soft tissue inside of the hip bones. You might notice just a little, I call it brightening. You might have a different word for it. And see if you can use that sense of strength and activation to stay really long through the spine and create extra space through each vertebra. Notice what the feet are doing. Play with pushing down a little extra into the feet and see if that helps. See if you can grow through the neck. And the next time you rock forward, we're going to add on. So from here, we'll take a kneeling chair so the hips hinge, spine stays neutral, and then tuck the tailbone under so the spine actually rounds. Push down into the shins to come back up, unraveling one vertebra at a time to neutral, and then we return to the rock back. So rock back, and then as we come forward, kneeling chair, nice and slow. Try to feel equal weight in both feet, both shins. Tuck the tailbone and push down into the shins to slowly roll up. And you know, I'm being a bad example. You don't have to go so deep in that, especially if it feels hard. It might just be like a 45-degree hinge. Let's do 2 more. So rock back, alternating with the hip roll. Last one. We might have gotten a bonus round in there. This one's really good for you, so that's okay. And the next time you float up, reach the arms overhead like we did on our belly. Push down into the right knee and let that send you up and over to the right. Drop the left hand and use an exhale to float it. Take a couple of those, noticing how that exhale helps you get really long and spacious in the side bend. And then come up to center and really gently circle the shoulders back. And for me, it's almost like the movement is coming from my knees and the rest of my body is ever so gently responding. And then we'll do the second side. So float the arms. Be really soft and gentle here. You can even bend the elbows and imagine the shoulders landing on the rib cage. And then push into the left knee and start to reach up and over to the right with the whole side body. And feel the rib cage stay connected to the pelvis. Keep the right side body longer here. Release the right arm down, and then as you exhale, reach up and over to the right, keeping that left side of the rib cage pulling down. Take a couple of pulses like that. The next time you come into it, push down into the left knee a little bit more and see if that helps you get more space. And then come back to center, release the arms and go into those nice gentle sways with the spine pushing down into the left knee to turn to the right, circling the right shoulder back, and then vice versa. So across the body from opposite knee to opposite shoulder. And then come back to center. If you're following along with the music, you can hit play on the next track. Feel free to grab another sip of water, and feel free to grab a blanket because we are doing a little bit more on the knees, and that was already a lot of kneeling. So actually, I'm going to require it because I want everyone's knees to be very happy. So please grab a blanket, even if you have super strong knees. Okay, and we'll stay at this 3/4 turn. Welcome back, Angeli, yay. I don't know if you heard, let's all use a blanket underneath our knees. And we'll meet in tabletop. With your next exhale, slide the left foot back and try that a couple of times and notice how the rest of the body gets a little stronger once the left leg is no longer supporting you. And the next time it slides back, tuck those left toes under, let the right knee come forward slightly. Push down into the right shin so the right hip is active and it's not sinking. And then let's play with some big circles with the pelvis, kind of like the movement we did in cat-cow, that barrel roll like action. Let the hips circle to the left and then down and then right and then up. And just like that cat-cow, you can keep equal weight in both knees and both hands and let the movement get smaller, but notice how much strength that activates in the core. And then change directions. And for those of you who were here last week, same transition options as last week. We'll start with option 1, and then we'll build into option 2. So first, slide the left knee forward, come up to kneeling, and then keep the left leg traveling forward into your lunge. So that's going to be option 1 when we come back to it later. So 90-90 lunge, hip right over the right knee. Float the arms, and just like we practiced in kneeling, push down into the right knee and side bend over to the left. Drop the left arm and exhale to hover it. If it's not too many balls to juggle, inhale up as you drop the arm and exhale side bend as that arm lifts. And the most important thing here is to feel how the side bend goes down into the right hip and into the right leg. It's not just about the rib cage moving, it's really connected down into the knee and the leg. And then the next time you come up, release the hands down, slide the left leg all the way back to the pigeon that you came from, and we'll add on here. So push evenly into both legs, shift the weight into the left hand, circle the right arm forward, up, and back. And let's do one more. Nice and easy, half of the effort of the first one. As the arm comes down, you have option 1 to slide left knee in to meet the right, or to just shift into the right knee and step the left foot all the way forward into that side bending lunge. So it's up to you. Please honor that right knee and shin. From the side bend, push down into the right knee. Let the whole right side body open. Take one pulse with the arm. And then we lower to tabletop at the same time that the left leg slides back, going right into our spiraling pigeon. And it's up to you. You can take it slow, and you can do a few circles before you transition back to the lunge, and you can do a few pulses in the lunge. Or Kara was calling this a running pigeon. So if you want to go for a pigeon run, you can just pulse back and forth. Check in with the right hip and the right knee. It is taking a lot of weight if you're choosing that second transition, so really try to move slowly and feel strong and integrated. And you always have that option 1 for the transition if that feels safer. And take your time, there's no need to rush, but we'll all meet in the side bending lunge. Bring your left hand into the left hip crease, push down into the right knee, let the right side of the body expand, and then gently steer the heart downward and then steer the heart upward. And we're not going far here, we're just trying to allow the layers of muscles to glide on the side body. It's not about the right arm. You should be starting to feel it down into the movement of the hip and even the thigh bone. If you feel somewhere really interesting, you can pause and breathe there. And then we'll all lower the hands inside of the left foot, tuck the back toes, and we're coming into a forward fold. So if it's comfortable, just step the back foot forward into your forward fold, or meet us here however feels good. Sway your hips from side to side. And then make your way up to standing. I like rolling up here, but for people with osteoporosis, it can be a little too much pressure on the bone, so just make sure you're supporting your body. And when you come all the way up, pause. Notice the asymmetry between sides. You can enjoy the stillness, or maybe the hips want a little circle. I'll leave that up to you. And for me, it was a lot on the right side, so I wanted you guys to be able to experience that, but we are just traveling back down to do the other side. So press down into the feet, circle the arms up and overhead, letting the whole front of the body lengthen. And then as is comfortable for you, bend the knees, hinge the hips, let the body start to melt, and we'll make our way back down to tabletop, lowering the knees back to the blanket. Take your time, there's no need to rush. Once you've returned to tabletop, we'll begin that sequence now with the right leg sliding back. So I like to use an exhale here. Feel free to try that. Exhale, slide the right leg back without moving anything else in the body, and then bring it back in. Try that a couple of times, seeing how stable you can be. Keep the foot in contact with the blanket. It's actually harder than lifting it. And the next time the leg slides back, tuck the toes under, hover the left knee, let it come forward just a little bit, and then start to circle the hips. Push down into the back foot and the front knee. So there's really a sense of the pelvis staying lifted and light, and the right hip staying connected to the left hip. So the right leg isn't reaching and pulling back. It's almost anchoring in, like when you flex the feet on when you're laying on your side. And then we'll play with our option 1 transition. So the right knee slides in, roll up to kneeling, and then right leg continues forward right into your lunge. Lift the hands, push into the left knee for your side bend, and then drop the right arm. Use your exhale to hover the arm and play with a couple of pulses here. And it's really about reaching up and over. Imagine there's almost like a 6-foot wall next to you, and you're like trying to get your hands up and over it. So it's not about bending deeper to the side. Though that might happen, let's try to feel how this side bend integrates down into the left leg, and how you can use both legs to have more support for the spine. The next time you come up, release the hands inside of the right foot. Take your time gliding the right foot back, returning to our more linear pigeon. The front knee isn't swiveled much. And then shift the weight into the right hand, circle left hand forward, up and back just a couple of times. Nice and slow, letting the movement of the arm rotate the whole body so you can feel how the left side of the rib cage interacts with the outer left hip and outer left thigh. Next time the hand comes down, 2 options: either slide the right knee next to the left or just push down into the left knee, slowly come up, balancing, and then step the right foot forward and come into your side lunge. And then remember, you can take a few pulses here, especially if that transition is challenging or you just want as much support as possible for your joints. And then as you feel ready, you'll glide back into your spiraling pigeon. So please give yourself permission to stay and explore, or you can do running pigeon. And take your time, but we'll all meet in the side bend, and you don't have to rush to get there. Enjoy the ride. Eventually bring right hand to right hip crease. Equal weight in both feet and knees, and then slowly reach up and over to the left. And here we add on that shearing action of gently gliding through the left side body. The heart leads the way. Sometimes it can be helpful to come slightly out of your side bend so you feel more integrated, and you might feel like you have a little bit more space for rotating the spine here. And then reach both arms up, melt them down inside of the right foot, tuck the back toes, step the back foot forward. You can move your blanket out of the way. We won't need it till the end. Bring the feet underneath the hips, bend the knees deeply, let the head hang, let the weight come into the heels, but keep the big toes down. If it feels good, sway the hips or enjoy stillness. And then let's rise up, letting the movement come from the feet. So start to push down into the feet and notice how that helps the spine get lighter. If you need more support for the spine, bring the hands onto the thighs, or you can use the support of your core to support the front of the spine as you slowly roll up. And we'll pause in Tadasana, just taking that in and hopefully noticing a sense of balance through the sides. If you circled the hips on the first round, you can add a little hip circle here.